What is that larger context? Something essential seems to be missing in our understanding, some potent but intangible factor or set of factors. Can we discern the more fundamental conditions in which our many concrete problems might ultimately be rooted? What are the most important underlying issues that confront the human mind and spirit in our era? Focusing particularly on the Western situation, centered in Europe and North America, though now variously and acutely affecting the entire human community, we can observe three especially fundamental factors. First, the profound metaphysical disorientation and groundlessness that pervades contemporary human experience, the widely felt absence of an adequate, publicly accessible larger order of purpose and significance, a guiding meta-narrative that transcends separate cultures and subcultures, an encompassing pattern of meaning that could give to collective human existence a nourishing coherence and intelligibility. Second, the deep sense of alienation that affects the modern self. Here I refer to not only the personal isolation of the individual in modern mass society, but also the spiritual estrangement of the modern psyche in a disenchanted universe, as well as, at the species level, the subjective schism separating the modern human being from the rest of nature and the cosmos. And third, the critical need, on the part of both individuals and societies, for a deeper insight into those unconscious forces and tendencies, creative and destructive, that play such a powerful role in shaping human lives, history, and the life of the planet. These conditions, all intricately interconnected and interpenetrating, surround and permeate our contemporary consciousness like the atmosphere in which we live and breathe. From a longer historical perspective, they represent the distillate of many centuries of extraordinary intellectual and psychological development. The compelling paradox of this long development is that these problematic conditions seem to have emerged and be subtly interwoven with the very qualities and achievements of our civilization that have been most progressive, liberating, and admired. It was this complex historical drama that I explored in my first book, The Passion of the Western Mind, a narrative history of Western thought that followed the major shifts of our civilization's worldview from the time of the ancient Greeks and Hebrews to the postmodern era. In that book, published in 1991, I examined and attempted to understand the great philosophical, religious, and scientific ideas and movements that over the centuries gradually brought forth the world and worldview we inhabit and strive within today. As with many such works that seem to take hold of their authors until they are completed, I was moved to write that book for more reasons than I fully grasped when I began the 10-year task. But my principal motive from the start was to provide, for both my listeners and myself, a preparatory foundation for the present work. For while The Passion of the Western Mind examined the history that led to our current situation, Cosmos and Psyche addresses, more precisely, the crisis of the modern self and modern worldview, and then introduces a body of evidence, a method of inquiry, and an emerging cosmological perspective that I believe could help us creatively engage that crisis and our history itself within a new horizon of possibility. I hope this book will point towards an enlarged understanding of our evolving universe and of our still unfolding role within it. R.T. 1. The transformation of the cosmos. In each age of the world distinguished by high activity, there will be found at its culmination, and among the agencies leading to that culmination, some profound cosmological outlook, implicitly accepted, impressing its own type on the current springs of action. Alfred North Whitehead, Adventures of Ideas. Our psyche is set up in accord with the structure of the universe, and what happens in the macrocosm likewise happens in the infinitesimal and most subjective reaches of the psyche. C.G. Jung, Memories, Dreams, Reflections. The birth of the modern self. The modern self began to emerge